Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here today. So my name is Maria Nasrallah, and I will be presenting our tech options here for our voice and our face-to-face point of sales. I'm a member of the member. I'm a member of the sales and marketing group here with Prosperity. Specifically, I work with agent support and new business. So most of you folks will get to know me very well down the line. Now, to recap, you may already be familiar with our Life product, the New Vista product. It is a final expense product sold by Prosperity Life Group. Please remember that Prosperity is our holding company. We have three sister companies that are Shenandoah out of Virginia, SBLI out of New York, and SUSA, a subsidiary to SBLI that operates in all states outside of New York area. Now, today's topic will be our tech options. So there are four options, four ways that our agents can submit applications to Prosperity. And I want to start off by saying that we've partnered with a company called Aptical. They're a third-party vendor for all of our underwriting. They have a specific web portal designed for face-to-face or online sales. We will be granting you access once you complete your contracting. You'll get a welcome email with a set of credentials as well as the web address to access this portal. And from here, you'll be able to submit your applications electronically, quickly, and efficiently, no matter your location or your point of sale. You can simply utilize various tech methods such as a cell phone, laptop, desktop, iPad, anything with an internet connection and Google Internet Browser, and you'll be ready to go. So let's talk about convenience right there, guys. Specifically, I will cover the voice option here for telesales folks, the e-application for face-to-face, and we have a new technology that you can download and install onto your cell phone called LiveApp Air. And these are the methods that you could write applications electronically. So let's begin. So telesales voice applications are very much similar to our old school hard copy paper applications, which we still accept. You can do remotely from wherever you work. Your client is basically going to be on the phone call with you and with their voice be able to sign on this option. We will also require a phone health interview to be conducted also on the telephone call. So giving you a little background about Aptical and what they do, they are a software that they power all of our technology options and as well as our underwriting decisions. They are available 7 days a week, Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. all the way up to 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They also carry weekend hours, so Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 10 is their availability. They're very much accessible and can pretty much fit to any of your schedules, hence why they power our technology options and they're a partner in that regard. So here's how it's going to work. So earlier I mentioned that once you complete your contracting, you're going to receive a welcome email with your login credentials to this portal. Your login credentials will be completely unique to you, so you're going to utilize them by installing Google Chrome on your laptop or desktop and accessing the site. So once you're in, you're going to see this screen appear to you. Now, sometimes depending on where you access the site, you may not necessarily come through to this page. So what you're going to want to do is once you're in, you're going to hover over to the LiveApp logo, which will be found on the top left-hand corner on the black menu. And when you hover slightly to the right, application will appear in white letters. Sometimes just the way that the site is, it just does not necessarily come through as well. But once you're in there, you can go ahead and click on application. And if you're with your client and ready to do the application, you can go ahead and start the application. If you are still working on quotes and figuring out where you're going to place your client in terms of price and eligibility, there will be a standalone feature rate calculator available on this menu screen. So once you're here, please make sure to select the company name, which will show up as Prosperity Life SUSA, the product, and like I mentioned earlier before, we have face-to-face electronic application as well as a telesales voice application. So if you're going to be doing the majority of your sales over the telephone, you're going to be selecting voice. If you're going to be a field agent and be in person with your clients, you're going to select the option E, application. So don't mistake the two. In case you forget, there'll be a little reminder here at the bottom informing you what kind of point of sale you will be conducting. And then pretty much after that, you're going to select the state, the language, choosing English as your default language, and then skipping over interpreter type and TTY and selecting next. Also on the screen, as you can see, you'll have a table of contents. So this is pretty much the divisions of the entire application process. At any point in time, you can select next or previous tabs down here in order to go back or forward on your work. If you've completed all of these sections and you want to move back to a certain area, you can certainly double click on these blue links right here and you'll go back into that specific part of the application. If you accidentally close out your screen or you get booted out of your internet connection, all your information will be saved in this portal. So that's really convenient for you. All you'll need to do is just simply re-log in, go back into the Applications tab, and then hit Search, and you'll be able to search your application according to certain filter specifications like the date that you completed the application, the name of the client, social, telephone number, status of the application. So just be sure that when you get your login credentials, take a little go here, get comfortable with the system so that way you know where to find information. So Aptical, after this section is completed, is going to ask you to key in the client's demographics. This is the quoting tool that I was mentioning that lives here as part of the application process or as a standalone feature. So you're going to key in all the details, date of birth, gender, smoker status, the payment term that the client wishes, whether or not they're going to choose the accidental death benefit rider. You're going to key in the face amount, make sure that the decimal points are included when you key in your information so that way you don't incidentally key in the wrong coverage amount. You can leave the premium draw date box empty. We're actually going to ask you for payment details later on. Then once you do all this, you'll see the calculate button appear as ready to complete it. So you'll hit calculate and all three results will show up down here. Please be sure to pre-screen your customer beforehand. We do have a copy of a prescription list on your agent portal that you can download in the event that the customer is on certain medication and you want to make sure that they qualify for the respective tier. So once you select your criteria here, you're going to create the application, and the first set of questions that you'll get will deal with whether or not you have given your customer the declarations and the disclosures. You do have a copy of each of these voice declarations, disclosures, buyer guide, etc. on your agent portal. So again, please be sure to have those ready to go and email them to your client ahead of time. In the event that your customer may not have these, an email address that you can submit this to, we do have a recorded playback version that will prompt with the telephone interview. It's about 7 minutes long. So depending on how much time your client may have, please encourage them if they do have family email address that they utilize that so that way you can save some time on the application. So hopefully you'll be able to do that, and if you do, then you'll be able to move over to the next screens. I do want to move back and give you a little notation here in regards to replacements. So with our voice option, if your client has instructed you that they have another life insurance policy that they're unsatisfied with and they want to discontinue it and purchase this one in lieu, then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to actually cancel the entire voice application altogether. We do not have a replacement option with the voice capability technology. So if it is a situation in which you do need to do a replacement, you first and foremost need to be face-to-face with your client. So the voice application is not going to be able to help you at all. You'll need to cancel that one out entirely. and do a face-to-face appointment with your client in order for you to complete the e-application that we do offer paperless on this portal. So big pointer there for you. So hopefully you'll get through to this section without any problems, and you'll be ready to fill in your client's basic information. You're going to make sure that you confirm all the information and all the details that your customer provides. And the next section will deal with the benefit information rider selections. Go ahead and complete those. They will be in yes or no questions. And when you get down to the payment, we do have a policy that allows your client to set up an initial premium draft up to 30 days from the point in time where they sign the application. So if you have a client that just does not necessarily want to be drafted upon approval and has a specific date in mind, you can complete this area down here with those specifications. Please don't forget that our future date policy must be within 30 days of the application date. So we will not be able to extend it beyond 30 days. If you have a customer that just simply cannot do a 30-day future draft policy, then you'll need to discontinue this application, meet with them in the future when it is convenient and when that date falls within the 30-day period. So the next slide is going to once again confirm premium and billing information, making sure that you also select whether or not they will choose the automatic premium loan election, and as well as who the premium notices will be sent to. We do also allow you to submit payment through a Social Security linked Direct Express credit card. Please note that is the only form of credit card submission that we allow. We do not allow a debit card, traditional MasterCard, Visa. We don't accept any credit cards to that effect. The only one that we accept is if it's aligned with their SSI and if it starts with the following digits, 5332-48. So you'll have these nice little cheat sheets here to remind you of what is available and what we can accept. Also, equally important, if your customer has a savings account and they want to set up a future draft through that type of EFT method, we do accept it. However, you do need to specify that it's a savings account. In a brief moment, I'll show you where you can make that update. In the meantime, you can select checking account and move forward, and then we can specify later on. The next section will be the beneficiary information, so I won't bore you here with the details, but just make sure that you complete and you verify everything just as you did with the basic client information section. We do allow up to 3 entries that you can submit here. If more space is needed, once again, you can make those additions on a separate area of the application. So just please be sure to confirm every detail and try to obtain all the information that is requested so that way we can have all completed information in-house. The last section will be the agent certification. So this is basically where your information will pre-fill. Please make sure that all your contact information is still correct and true. Sometimes with agents moving or changing their addresses, their contact information, that may not necessarily translate here. So if it does, good, you can move on to the next section. If it doesn't, you can go ahead and erase the information and recomplete it. Now, earlier I mentioned that you can make some changes to the specifications that are not necessarily available in the prior screen. So if you had additional beneficiaries, you can actually complete them here under the comments area. This is a field that has a lot of opportunity for you to complete as many as the customer deems fit. Just make sure that all your beneficiaries add up to 100%. If the customer has an EFT through a savings account, earlier I mentioned to you that does not show up as an option. Only checking accounts are shown here, but you can select that and then specify under the comments area that it's a savings account. If you have some sort of dual agent type of scenario and you want to split commissions, this is the area that you can also complete and add those additional notes. So anything that you want to add as an additional note, you can utilize the comments area for that. So now moving on to the important part. So with a telesales voice application, this is what you're going to see once you basically complete the entire application. It's going to ask you to contact Aptical with the option 1 to complete the interview process. A phone number will appear, so you don't need to have that ready. The computer will tell you what the telephone number to Aptical is, and as well as they will let you know what the ID number to this application is. You're going to need to write this down because when you make that phone call to the Aptical vendor, they're going to ask you for the reference number. And it's basically going to work as a tracking number. They'll be able to pull the application that you just recently completed and continue where you left off. So it's very important that you make a note of it for yourself, especially if you need to log back in and take a look at the application, make a copy for yourself or make a copy for the customer, however you deem fit. This reference number is going to allow you to retrieve that application that you did. So once you do that, you'll call Aptical and you'll give them the reference number. You'll make your introductions. They will ask who the agent is, so please let the interviewer know who they're speaking with, who is the proposed insured. Be sure to introduce them. If there's going to be an owner on the application, please also, different than the proposed insured, please also introduce them too, so that way they know who they're speaking with. And then make sure that you have that reference number as well, as I mentioned before. So on the e-application, it's going to be a little different. So with our e-applications, we don't actually have you contact Aptical. The e-application is built in with underwriting software. So instead of it prompting you to call Aptical, it's just going to dive right into the actual medical questions. And if you want to take a look and see how they look, you can go back to your Prosperity Agent Portal, download a blank application, and take a look at those questions right there. Basically, the difference with the voice technology is that because you're not in the presence of your customer, and a third party such as Aptical vendor needs to be there to ask the underwriting questions. But if you are face-to-face with your client, you will be the interviewer as well. So you won't need to contact Aptical. You'll be the one asking and recording those answers on your computer. So with the e-application, once you do those, once you record those answers, you will await the software to prompt back a decision. It takes a good 2 full minutes, folks. So please don't get anxious. Please let it run its entire course. It may look like it's not working. That's completely normal. We know that. We know it looks kind of funny, but wait the full 2 minutes. If you do that and you don't touch the screens, you'll be able to get your eligibility right there on the screen. You won't be confused later on. We've had instances where agents get a little anxious or nervous. They're not sure whether or not it's going to work. And so what they'll do is they'll hit the next tab and then it'll throw the whole system off, and then we'll have to get on a phone call to be able to retrieve that information for them once again. So the best rule book here is to just let it do its thing. It'll give you that decision automatically without you moving a button. So just follow the prompts and keep in mind that it takes a good 2 full minutes to give you a decision. Now, sometimes there will be cases where a decision cannot be rendered, which often happens because the customer is not all honest with us and may not necessarily want to give us full disclosure of their medical history or their medications. So in instances where you get a response from the peer software informing you that they cannot render a decision, it needs to be sent over to the home office, that's exactly what it probably means. It means that there's something there that's not matching. Could be their MIB, could be a pharma check that's just not matching up, and that's why we need the home office to weigh in. So when that happens, just let your customer know that they can't make a decision. There's something else going on that the underwriters need to verify. They'll send over the information to our home office and just wait for an email from the underwriting department letting you know what the final result is. And if they render a decision, they will let you know in that follow-up email. Please also know that it takes about 2 to 3 business days for any application that you enter in this portal to come through to home office. So it's not going to be an instantaneous thing. It's going to take a good 2 days. We're very quick about it. So most of the cases we're able to get something within 24 hours. But if you don't see it appear in your portal, if you're not getting those email statuses, just be patient with us. Sometimes we experience higher volume than other times, and that's why our Aptical folks may not necessarily get us those applications, within a 24-hour time frame. Their turnaround time for normal processing is 2 to 3 business days. So hopefully you'll be able to get that decision and provide that to your customer, be it by voice or be it by face-to-face. If you do, just know that you won't need to do anything from that point on. Everything will be transferred over to the home office electronically. We will be sending you a confirmation email letting you know that we have the application here in-house and it's being processed. We'll also assign a policy number right next to the individual's name. So if ever you need to contact us for status, just take a look at your email, check that customer's name. Right next to that, there should be a policy number. They typically start with a 9200 number. So that's when you'll know it in the system here in the home office, and you can do your follow-ups accordingly. Now, a few additional points to add with our Aptical voice applications, expectations that we'd like you to be aware of. When you call Aptical on a voice application, please make sure to stay on the line. Please don't disconnect. Please don't instruct your customer to contact Aptical and you not be present in that telephone call. It's very important that we have our agents make that call, initiate and facilitate the communication. You're most of the time going to be silent on that call, but that's quite all right because the interviewer does need to be the one to make those questions. We don't allow you to coach or aid your client or repeat the questions. So if you do have a customer that's maybe a little hard of hearing or needs that extra help to have them understand what we're going to ask and set those expectations, you can do so before the call is made. So you'll have an opportunity to maybe reserve some time beforehand, and hopefully before you even quote them with your pre-screening, you'll have all that information there. Please instruct your customer to have their state ID or driver's license on hand, as well as the payment information that they want us to take in with that application. The interviewer will be verifying that information again on the telephone. So like I said before, we don't allow you to aid the customer on the call. You're more than likely going to be silent for the majority of the call. So just be aware of those two important topics. If there is a separate owner, that separate owner will also need to be on that call as well. So equally important, proposed insured owner, if other than the proposed insured and the agent will all be on that phone call and will all be voice signing the application. They will be asking you whether or not you gave your customer email copies of disclosures. So if you did it, they'll play that 7-minute recorded playback version. If you did, they'll skip over that, and that'll save you a little extra time, and the customer won't have to listen to that boring recorded playback version. They'll also be helping you with any recalculations. So if there is a counter offer and the customer still wishes to pursue that, they will be aiding you. So what's really nice and convenient for you is that they'll do the work for you. All you need to do is just be physically present at that phone interview. Other things to tag on, make sure that when you are accessing the site, don't forget you need to access it only by way of installing Google Chrome as your internet browser. It's not going to work right if you forget and you open up Internet Explorer, Firefox, Mozilla, Safari. None of that is going to work just fine. You may end up getting like error messages. It may freeze on you and you will have absolutely no clue what's going on. That's 9 times out of 10 what it is. You forgot to open up your program there with Google Chrome.